Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jordan Hall. So hello everyone, I'm so happy to be back. I really had fun with you guys last time in the last podcast. Oh my god, I had such an amazing breakfast, milk and cereal. I mean, it's so simple, but it just fills me up with such happiness and satisfaction. Seriously, I really recommend it to eat a bowl of cereal. It could really boost your happiness, and just a little splash of milk, add in a little cereal, and your day will be improved by 100%. I fully recommend it. And I hope once again, I can motivate you even more to feel happy and way more satisfied than last time. So today, we will be talking about a bunch of weird but effective ways to put yourself in a happy and joyful mood. And we will also be talking about a bunch of different things that link food and happiness together. And, in addition, we will be talking about some inspirational quotes that will inspire you to live life to the fullest. And if you stick around to the end of the show, I'll be giving you some locations that I go to that really felt like a second home. So for segment 1, we're going to be talking about some weird but effective ways to put yourself in a happy and joyful mood. So I stumbled across this website called Talkspace.com. One of the really odd ways that you can get yourself to smile and be happy is to laugh as often as possible, even if you don't feel like you're in a jokeful mood or you just don't feel like smiling. Just make yourself laugh. Just force yourself to laugh. Every time you smile and laugh, your brain releases dopamine, and this chemical produces feelings of happiness. Like endorphins, they're natural painkillers. If you laugh, it will release nitric oxide that boosts the immune system, and it really improves your overall wellness. Just look up a video on YouTube. They have plenty of funny videos. Just type in the search bar, #funny videos, and you'll find some. And I really recommend the slip and fall videos. I'm sorry, it's just funny. I mean, I know the person is in pain, but just from our standpoint, it's really funny. Oh my god, here's another one. Sing more often. When you sing, the musical vibrations just move in your throat. And when you sing, do something called vibrato. When your voice shakes, just go like, oh, like that's when the music just flows right out of you. And it's an amazing experience. Researchers say that the act of singing actually soothes the nerves and lifts their spirits. I've actually experienced singing. Like, I love singing, and I do it whenever I can. And I just love to hum or sing one of my favorite songs. Even if I don't know the lyrics, I just listen to it on my iPod. I just hit play. Whatever song comes up, whatever playlist you have, just hit shuffle. If you don't know what song to play, just shuffle any random song that will come on, and you can just jam to it. Here's another one. Just sing. Whatever comes to your brain, you can make up lyrics. You can, look up the lyrics online and just sing. Record yourself singing, listen to yourself sing. Even if you're out of tune, it doesn't matter. Just sing and let it flow out naturally, because that's when you really get into it. And you should sing with a friend. Like, you shouldn't sing alone. If you sing with somebody, you can create your own choir, kind of like the professional choirs you see on TV or like that you hear in movie soundtracks. Just be one of those people. Singing releases oxytocin, which alleviates anxiety and stress. It also boosts feeling of trust and bonding. And it lessens the feeling of depression, too, and loneliness. And that's why singing can be therapeutic. And also, joining a choir, like I said before, it's really good for our mental health. If you're singing with other people, it reminds you that you're with like-minded people who like the same thing as you do. You don't have to be like, why am I singing alone? Is this a bad habit? Why am I singing by myself? If you're singing with someone, it reminds you you're not the only one that likes singing. You're with other people who are like-minded and just like doing the same thing. The connection with others is a really good and a huge mental health benefit aside from singing. And if you combine both, it does wonders. So another one is just going dancing. Just go out dancing. So if you're just not good at singing and you're not feeling it, again, go dancing. Just go out and dance, not in the middle of the road or not like in public, but just close your door in your room and just let it out and dance. And apparently, a study out of North Dakota found that senior adults who took a 12-week Zumba class reported having improved moods and cognitive skills. You know what? If you want to boost that brain power, go dancing. I mean, I recommend it. Whether it be alone, whether it be taking a dance class with a professional, it really does wonders. It also helps your fitness. Like, it releases endorphins. So if you want to dance the heck out of your day, you will get good health. I promise you, it will boost your health again. Dance to one of your favorite songs. Like, just hit that playlist. Don't dance to nothing. I mean, if you like dancing to silence, I guess that's fine. But play one of your favorite songs. You don't even have to sing. You can just sing and dance at the same time if you want to. I mean, if I dance to a song at the same time as singing, if I sing and dance at the same time, I'd be out of breath for days. I'm sorry, like, I cannot multitask. But just dance or sing, or just both. It really helps your mental health. So, the next one, people say it's stupid to think of things that they're grateful for because they think they have nothing that they're grateful for. But if you really think about it, if you really think about the life that you have and the good things that happen in life, you will start to see, wow, it is really making me happy. So focus on being grateful. That's another one. People think it's a waste of time, but it's actually not. The more you focus on the positives, the easier it is to put the negatives aside and approach life with a better attitude and more positive feelings. And also writing down your feelings really helps too. Like, I talked about that in the last podcast, writing down your feelings, writing down the number out of 10, like 1 out of 10, like 9 out of 10. If you're feeling 9 out of 10, just write it down. Don't say, oh, 9 out of 10. Just write why you're feeling that way. Don't just write 9 out of 10. Just tell us why. And maybe you can have an inner discussion with yourself as to why you're feeling that way. Just start writing things down and have a conversation with yourself. Even if you're alone, talk through it. Like, talk to yourself in your head, then talk to yourself out loud, talk to yourself in your head, talk to yourself out loud, and just have a conversation with yourself. Knowing yourself will really boost your confidence and just focus on being grateful and the good things in your life. I really recommend it, seriously. Okay, so I stumbled across another website, and it's another bunch of weird things that you can do. And it might be weird to other people, but I don't think it's that unusual in my opinion. It says one of the options says spend more time outdoors. I mean, that's not that weird. Honestly, over the years, back in like when Earth started, we were all outside all the time. Cavemen were outside all the time. And over the years, we just built architecture after architecture, and now we can just be completely isolated from nature because we're inside our houses all the time. We forget that there's an outside world. We really forgot where we were born. If you just step outside, you're reminded of where you came from. Honestly, that's another thing. Not just nature itself, like the nature, the breeze, the birds, like that's all beautiful and everything, but it's where we were born. If you go outside, it reminds you where you came from. And if you're like a psychologist, you could just go back in your brain and be like, wow, this is where I formed from. This is where I was born, because it's amazing. We're just a tiny planet in a giant solar system. It's amazing. But other than thinking philosophical thoughts, yes, being outside is good for your health. Reports from Huffington Post says there's a link between happy dispositions and more time spent outside in the sun. Specifically, the sun which has vitamin D. And you can get that from sunshine, and it affects your mood really positively. And if you get too little of it, you can be depressed. So get that sunshine. It's very, very important, and spend time outside. It reminds you of where you were born. Don't stay isolated. It makes you forget about where we came from. So I recommend going outside. Oh, here's another one. Playing with animals. Hey, if you don't have a pet, that's okay. Just go outside, Sit down on the curb in your front yard and just watch the dogs go by. Watch, just on the curb. Sit on the curb and just watch the dogs go by. I have a neighborhood where there's constantly people walking, especially during the pandemic. People are just walking with their dogs casually, The dogs sniff. They smell things. They can just walk up to people and just lick people because they're really friendly. It doesn't matter what the he, she, whatever the gender is, they just walk up to people and they start licking them. I mean, if they're friendly, they do that, but just analyze the different pets that go down the road. I mean, it's mostly dogs. I don't really see cats outside that much, but, it's still cute. But it is surprising that puppies can make you feel so much better, especially dogs. Oh my God, I love dogs. Small dogs in particular. Their fuzziness. I love petting them. It just makes me feel so happy. But according to the National Center for Health Research, there are a lot of benefits of owning a pet. Like, if you can actually get a pet, it's even better. It could help lower your blood pressure, elevate levels of serotonin and dopamine, and it can lessen the symptoms of depression. And especially if you have the disorder, it can really, really help. Because I feel like animals are the only animals that can truly understand you. I mean, that's not entirely true. There are probably some people that can understand you who have been with you most of your life, but honestly, animals are so innocent. They don't really understand what's going on, so it doesn't matter what you tell them. They'll understand you. They won't judge you. They don't understand our language anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, I mean, if you have a reason to get a pet, now you do. And if you can't afford it, just go outside on your front lawn and watch the different pets walk by. And if the pet is friendly enough and the owner that owns the dog is nice enough, they'll let you pet him or her. So there's an obvious reason why you should get a dog. And yeah. Oh, here's another obvious one. Being around other people. I mean, there are some introverts that are like, I don't want to be around people. But honestly, when you're feeling low, yeah. The last thing you might feel like doing is hanging around other people. But honestly, if you're feeling low and just going on electronics all day, going on YouTube, it's not helping. You might as well just hang out with people. There's people everywhere. If you get out of the house, interact with other people, join clubs at your school, just go outside where people are constantly talking and doing things. It can really boost your mood significantly. According to Everyday Health, isolation just makes you feel more depressing. Instead of staying inside all day, all isolated and alone, like I just said, with the going outside thing, going outside, interacting with people, and just call a loved one, even if it's a close friend. Don't just talk to random strangers on the street. I mean, you could talk to your friends, call a loved one, make plans with your friends, and just go out to the mall. Go to the movies. I mean, I know it's hard now during the pandemic, but meet them at the park. Everyone needs a friend. Sometimes just make an effort, and making an effort is what counts. Okay, so I have one more website that I stumbled upon. It's called greatest.com. And again, it lists a bunch of weird ways you can get yourself in a very happy and go lucky mood. And the first one is just jumping around. It does sound weird. Like, it sounds really odd. It's like, why just randomly jump around? But if you're jumping around, it gets your blood pumping. It gets your energy elevated. It gets those happy-making endorphins in your system. And just do some jumping jacks, do jump rope, or just randomly flail around. I won't judge, I promise. It's probably one of the most effective ways to relieve anxiety. Here's another one. Sniff certain scents. Sniffing different types of fruit is very, very essential. Inhaling the scent of oranges or even lavender, like different perfumes, just take the little nozzle on the perfume bottle and go and just inhale the fumes. It smells really good, I promise you. So another one is chewing gum. The repetitive action of just gnawing on gum can really promote relaxation and really reduce anxiety. Especially it provides a distraction too, because you're so focused on chewing with your teeth and the action of like digging your teeth into the soft texture that you're not even thinking about your problems anymore. It's really effective. I've done it before. And especially the flavors can be really distracting too, like the fresh scent or the fresh taste of strawberry or mint or any flavor. It really does help, especially if you're hungry too. It serves as a curb for hunger. Oh my God. And here's one more that is really powerful, and eating chocolate. As if we need another reason to eat chocolate. It makes us feel very happy, and it gives us, I know it's not healthy, but once in a while you can treat yourself and it makes you really happy when you treat yourself. If you've done like an achievement, I talked about this in the last podcast. Treating yourself is just, it makes you really happy, and especially eating chocolate is a reward that people use a lot for achievements, and I really recommend you eating chocolate. Okay, so this is the end of segment 1. Up next, I will be talking about some of the many things that link food and happiness together.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Okay, so here is segment 2. The last segment, we talked about weird things that make you happy. Now, I will be talking about some of the many things that link food and happiness together. Also, if you stick around to the end of the show, I will give you some locations and places I went to that felt like a second home. So for the second segment, I stumbled across an article from spoonuniversity.com, and it's 7 reasons why food is the ultimate source of happiness. I don't think I need any reasons why. I just eat it when I'm happy. Simple as that. I get out a little dish, scoop some ice cream onto a plate or a cup or something, and I just eat it. That's my reason. I just eat it when I'm happy. But here are some reasons. Number 1, knowing that there is new food somewhere that you haven't tried. Think about all the food that you've eaten in your life. What haven't you eaten? That's the question. There are so many foods out there, so many cultures. There's Asia, there's Japan, there's so many different types of food. Have you ever tried all the types of Mexican food? No, there's so much food being invented every single day. So there's bound to be something that you didn't have yet. Just think. It really makes you excited because it's like, oh my God, I need to try all this food. There was always one person who was never satisfied. So get enough of that food. You can never get enough of any food, honestly. Another one is eating your ice cream before it melts. It gives you that anticipation and anxiety. It's like, oh my God, if I wait any further, my ice cream will melt. But honestly, ice cream is hands down the most preferred form of dessert, and it never fails to work as a remedy. Honestly, it really helps if you're getting over a breakup or if you're, just craving ice cream, it's perfect. But if it's melting, it gives you that anxiety. And you're like, no, if I wait like 2 or 3 minutes, it's going to completely melt. So it gives you that anticipation to eat. Oh my God, here's another one. Spending time cooking fabulous meals for people you love. If you have a loved one like your mom, you know how the mom and your dad does all the cooking, how they spent all your life just cooking meals for you and providing for you. Well, now that you're an adult, or maybe you're 17 and you're old enough to cook your own meals, and maybe you've learned from them, use your skills to make food for them, or make food for your friend. If you're over a friend's house, or if they're over your house and they're a guest, just serve food for them. Put on their favorite toppings, fry it the way they want. Not fry is really unhealthy, but cook it the way they want. If they want it medium rare, cook it medium rare. But not everyone gets their share of happiness from eating. There are some people who get pleasure from looking up recipes in a cookbook. So just break out that cookbook, look up recipes, and it'll make you and your loved one happy. If you get happiness from making food, you don't even have to eat food to be happy. You can make it to be happy. Make it for somebody else. It's one of the best things. And every now and then, here's another one. Every now and then, you're allowed to splurge on fast food. You're allowed. Healthy eating habits should be professed and practiced, but you can't help but eat that cheeseburger or pizza once in a while. You can't help it. Again, I go back to treating yourself. It's okay to have some fast food once in a while, just in moderation. And honestly, if you have it once in a while, it makes it all the more special. If you've waited, 2 years is too long. If you've waited like at least a few months and you're like holding that cheeseburger, you're like, finally, I get to have it. It just feels so meaningful. And it fills you up with that long-lasting happiness that you were waiting to feel like all those months. Here's another one. Free food. I mean, no food is free, but if you're a little kid and your parents are just serving you food, it does feel free. If you are the one who tries all the free food, oh yeah, free food samples, I forgot about that. If you're walking around in Walmart or the college fair, and if it's your birthday too, free food is the one for you. I mean, in my Walmart, there are so many like stands that are there where people are serving like free yogurt or free milk or free chocolate bars, and they're just standing there selling it. Well, not selling it, but giving it out for free. And then if you like it, they're like, oh, this is basically advertising. They're like, oh, buy our product. But I end up just eating the food and then walking away. But yeah, free food samples are just a guilty pleasure of mine. And here's another thing that should make you happy. You can eat carbs without putting on weight. Just know that there is a way to eat carbs in moderation. Once in a while, it's okay to have hot dogs for lunch and pizza for dinner. I mean, once in a while, that's fine. Just as long as you do it in moderation. Oh, here's another one. You know how you can cook for your parents? Well, once in a while, you can have your mom cook for you. And that is honestly the best feeling when... And this is only for people who cook every day. If you cook for your parents every single day and you want them to whip you up a meal, it just feels so good to have them serve you for once, But again, it is nice when they cook. It is nice when they cook for us and we appreciate it. So cooking for them is a nice reward. But once in a while when your parents cook for you, it's just... It feels so good. It's definitely a throwback moment when your mom cooks your favorite dish. It so is. So another article that I stumbled across that has to do with food and a happy life is 9 food ideas to help you sleep well. And when you sleep well, you're a very happy person. So I think that this article is perfect for this podcast. It says below there is a list of snacks and dinner foods that will help you sleep better. I would love to see this list. Let's go. Berries with yogurt. I mean, I usually have Chobani. I have blueberry flavored. There's strawberry flavored. There's so many different types of flavors that there are. But putting berries in yogurt sounds really good. Carbohydrates in berries can help amplify serotonin production in the brain. Ooh, that really helps. Well, yogurt promotes good sleep. It really does. I really recommend it. And if this article recommends it, I recommend it. Tart cherry juice with walnuts. I've never had tart cherry juice. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds legit. Apparently, the snack is rich in melatonin, and it's a hormone that plays a big role in the sleeping-wake cycle. Because when you go to bed, as you're falling asleep, the melatonin kicks in and makes you more drowsy until you eventually fall asleep. So it really promotes healthy sleep. So I dig it. Another one is chickpeas with a glass of milk. I mean, to me, that sounds gross, but is that a thing? Can you really do that? I didn't know that was a thing. Chickpeas and milk are apparently a source of an amino acid that can help to improve sleep. Gets converted to melatonin in the brain, as well as serotonin. Sounds legit. I'm all here for it. Kiwi fruit. I've never heard of that. Kiwi is definitely a source of antioxidants and serotonin, which could improve sleep onset, duration, and efficiency. Which may help improve sleep onset, duration, and efficiency. Sounds good. Spinach salad with quinoa, avocado, and pumpkin seeds. Oh, that sounds really good. I love spinach. It's one of my favorite meals. It's my favorite healthy meal, I think, in my opinion. I usually use it with almost anything. It goes with like bow ties. I don't know if it goes with salad, but it basically goes with anything dinner related. It's honestly it's really good. But spinach salad. Start your dinner with a salad containing these ingredients. The quinoa, avocado, and pumpkin seeds. I've never tried avocado. Sounds really good. And apparently it's rich in magnesium. And it's a mineral needed for normal sleep. Sounds good. Another one, bananas with peanut butter. Oh, wow. That's a really weird combination. Wow. This combination is not only used, it's not only magnesium rich, but it will help to get rid of spiked blood sugar levels. That really helps. And it helps people that have diabetes. Oh, that's really helpful because I think if you have diabetes, it's hard to sleep. So it would probably curb those effects a little bit. I love that. Protein-rich foods for dinner. Yes. I have fish a lot for dinner, especially salmon. Oh my God, salmon is so good. But consider having fish, eggs, and cheese at dinner time. I can't have eggs that much because I have high cholesterol, but in moderation, perfect. Like I usually have egg whites. Egg whites is perfect too. But fish, eggs, and cheese have amino acids. And it can potentially relieve stress and improve sleep quality, especially if you have fatigue. Oh, fatigue is awful. I've had it before where all your muscles ache. It's just eating food really helps that. A cup of herbal tea. Definitely. I mean, that's not food, but it can definitely be a snooze-worthy beverage. And it can help you sleep. Definitely, yeah. Tea helps you calm down, too. So, if you're looking for, a calm slumber, have a cup of herbal tea. Okay, and one more. One more is golden milk with turmeric. What the heck is golden milk? That sounds it sounds golden. It sounds really good. Turmeric is calming for the stomach. And if you add, warm milk. Okay. I don't know what golden milk is. Like, if milk is yellow, I don't think that's good. I don't think milk is supposed to be yellow. But warm milk sounds really good. Turmeric with warm milk, it could potentially help you fall asleep better and faster. And you can add black pepper to the turmeric. I don't think you should add black pepper to the milk, though. I think you add it to the turmeric. But yeah, Sounds good. Oh my God, cinnamon, nutmeg, and honey sounds really good too. Definitely. Okay, so those are all the foods most of the foods that can help you with sleep. And that's all the information I have on linking, well, that's all the articles I found on linking food and happiness together. And that is the end of segment 2. And for the next segment, we'll talk about some motivational quotes that will inspire you and motivate you to be your best self.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello, everyone, and we're back with segment 3. So, to recap, we basically, during the last segment, we talked about a bunch of different things that link food and happiness together, whether it be foods that help you fall asleep or foods that basically you can just enjoy and be happy with. But now, for this segment, we'll be talking about some motivational quotes that I found on the internet that will really inspire you and motivate you to be your best self. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, so here we go. I accessed a website called entrepreneur.com, and it lists a lot of quotes that can really motivate you. So I'm going to read a couple. One is, nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. That is very true. There are some things in life that are like, they seem impossible, but it really is possible. I really feel it. If you say to yourself in your head, it's possible that I can do this, it will happen. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a positive way. If you think negative, negative things will happen. If you think positive, positive things will happen. So just know in your head that everything you say will happen. So I recommend you saying, I'm possible in my head. I agree with you, and this quote was by Audrey Hepburn. Very, very cool. Very, very good. Here's another quote by Maya Angelou. Very, very popular person. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Oh, I felt that one. Yeah, usually emotions you remember the most. Like factual stuff, I usually forget, like facts in school. But I remember things that made me happy. I mean, I can think of something in my past that made me happy. Going to the movies made me happy, because of the pandemic right now. It's really hard to access the movie theaters. And back then I used to, sit with my friends. I would invite like a group of my friends. We would all sit down and basically just enjoy a nice movie with some buttered popcorn. I mean, I just wish I can go to one right now. And I have a lot of friends right now who are all remote in school, and we could just, it's sad. I really wish we could go to a movie theater, but you know what? It made me happy and I remember it, right? So yeah, Maya Angelou's right. You don't remember the factual stuff. You don't remember the words and the actions, but you remember the emotions. I mean, I remember going to the movies and that's like an action, but I remember the emotions especially. That's the best thing. Oh, here's another one by Vince Lombardi. Why does that name sound familiar? I feel like I've heard that name somewhere. But anyway, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. I mean, that's one to think about. I don't think we should chase perfection, but I think I see what he's saying. You can't be perfect, but if you try to achieve what you can do, if you can achieve the best thing in life, then you will do your best, if that makes sense. If you think your best, you will do your best. And that's going back to the first quote that says, I'm possible. If you think I'm possible, you will. If you chase perfection, we can achieve things. I kind of get it. Yeah. That's a very good quote, Vince Lombardi. I like it. Okay, so another one. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. That's very interesting because you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it, I think, is what this guy is saying. Charles Swindoll is the one who says it. I mean, I feel like this quote can be interpreted in some different ways, but I see it as you can't control everything, but the way you react to it is really powerful. Like, you can't control what happens to you, but how you react to it is what you can control. And if you control how you react to things, if you react to things in a positive way, you will make people feel good, and you will make people, whatever happened, if it was a good or a bad, result, if you react to it in a positive way, whether it be negative or positive, really effective. I think that's what this quote means. I mean, it could be used in many different ways, but I like it. If you don't look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. I believe this one, and this one was by Oprah Winfrey. Wow, I get it. If you look at the positive things in your life, and again, this goes back to the first one, like, if you say I'm possible, it is possible. But this is looking back at all the great memories you've had. If you look back at your first, I don't know if you remember your first steps when you're a baby, but stuff like that, your memories when you graduated college, when you got your bachelor's degree in college, anything like that, anything and anything you have now too, all the memories, if you look back at what you have in life, you'll achieve more things because it motivates you to be happy and to achieve things that you weren't possible of before. I love this. And if you think about negative things, you'll never achieve what you want to because you're just being pulled down by negative stuff. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. Be grateful, basically. That's what it's saying. Be grateful for what you do have and make do with what you do have, and you will make it in life. I totally agree. Wow, Oprah Winfrey. That was a great quote. And here's another one. And it's very short, but I think it sums up a lot. It says, none of us is as smart as all of us. You have to believe you're smart. You can't make anyone else believe you are. And this person, it's by Ken Blanchard. None of us is as smart as all of us. I think he's saying that we're all smart in some way. We all have the power, we all have the knowledge to do something great. So I don't really know what else to say about that, but it sums it all up, I think. It really does. Here's another one. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And oh my God, James, this is by Jimmy Dean. I don't know if this is the same guy as James Dean, because Jimmy is short for James. All right, whatever. That's not related to the podcast. But anyway, basically he's saying you cannot, again, control what happens to you, but you can control how you approach it. Again, is what the other quote was saying about, I forgot what it was, but there was another quote that was similar. Oh yeah, by Charles Swindoll, the life is 10% what happens to me, 90% of how I react to it. It's very similar. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. Dang, I'm really believing this, really. Oh, here's another one that's actually kind of similar. Wow, I'm already feeling more positive just reading these. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. You're halfway there to already achieving what you want to do if you believe you can achieve it. Again, like the other quotes were saying, if you in your head believe what you want to do, you will end up doing it. It's all about the motivation. You got to motivate yourself. Very good, very good. And that was Theodore Roosevelt. And that was many, many years ago. Many, many years ago. And it still applies today. It doesn't matter when the quote was said. It's timeless. Honestly, these quotes are timeless. Let's do a few more. Here's another one. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. I think that's very interesting because if you use your heart for yourself, some people don't understand their own emotions. And if they let emotions get to them, they end up making the wrong decision. So I think if you use your head for yourself, you can make better decisions. And if you handle others, here's the thing. When it comes to yourself, some people can't understand their own emotions. So I get it. And if you handle others, use your emotions because they're not your priority. Yourself is. Use your head for things that are your first priority, which is yourself. And once you conquered yourself and you've used your head, then use your heart to make relationships because emotions are what creates relationships. So I fully believe it. One more. Let's do one more. Come on, let's do one more. Oh, I can relate to this one. Too many of us are not living in our dreams because we are living our fears. Oh my God, because when you're living your fear, you don't have. Okay, so let's do a few more. Here's another one. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. And this is by Helen Keller. And I believe this because without my friends, honestly, I probably wouldn't have done half of the stuff I'm doing right now. I mean, yes, it's all up to you at the end, but the reinforcements come from people you love. And honestly, I would have done it, but it would have taken longer. I think having people who love you really speeds up the process. And they're basically just your backup. They're there to encourage you and give you advice. They're not there to do everything for you. They're just there as a support system, and I love that. I completely agree. And even when it comes to teamwork too. Like, yes, you can collaborate with someone, but at the end, you have to work together. It's all about teamwork. But you can't, whether you're working alone or with people, you gotta have that encouragement and you gotta keep going, you know? I really believe it. I really do. Okay, so here's another one that, again, is similar to a lot of the ones I've seen. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Again, if you believe you can do good thing. Oh, this is by Napoleon Hill. Yeah, it's pretty similar to the other ones. But again, it just reminds us again that if you truly believe what you're doing, then it will happen. So, all right, here, I don't know if this is the last one I'm going to do. No, this is the second to last one I'm going to do. And this is a really long one, but it's probably really meaningful. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. I know what he's saying. He's saying that life is short and you should do all the things you want to do right now. If you motivate yourself enough, you can do it. It's basically like crossing off a bucket list. I mean, you don't want to be like 80 years old and you haven't done half the things you want to do. So if you do things early and you do it now while you're young, you won't regret anything. You won't look back and say, hey, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do this? So if you don't want to regret anything, do it right now. I completely see what he's saying. Oh my God. Perfect Mark Twain. And he's an amazing author. I think I've read some of his books, so I really believe what he's saying. That just makes the quote all the more special. Okay, so this is my second to last one. I'm sorry. Or, you know what? It doesn't matter how many I get through. You know what? I'm having fun with this. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan. I know what he's saying. You can't succeed unless you make mistakes. I completely get it. You can't learn from anything unless you make mistakes, because then you don't know what you're going to do wrong, or you don't know if you do the wrong thing. Basically, it will help you prevent from doing wrong things again. It will help you improve. I completely get it. You will, after you make a mistake, you won't make it again because you'll know that it's wrong and you won't do it again. That's basically what I'm saying. And I completely get it. Okay. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be a value. Albert Einstein. Oh, yeah, I really feel this one because here's the thing. There's like a lot of people who, especially young people, who crave attention, and I'm kind of guilty of that. I mean, I'm like really young. I'm like 23, and I kind of still crave that, attention from other people in order to feed my confidence. I'm very guilty of that, but you can't use other people for your confidence. Don't strive to be the most popular person. You got to strive to be the most of value to someone. You got to be useful. You can't be just the most popular pop star. You got to be useful to society. You got to do something that is valued to society, and that makes you happy, honestly. Just do what makes you happy. That's what I'm saying. So that is the end of segment 3. So for segment 4, we just talked about a bunch of motivational quotes that will help you be your best self. And for the next segment, we're going to talk about some locations and places I went to that really felt like a second home. We'll be back.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right, so here's the final segment. We're going to be talking about some locations and places that really felt like a second home to me. And I cannot wait to talk about this because this is I have a lot of good locations here that really mean a lot to me. So the first one that is really hard to access right now because of COVID, but concerts. I really feel the adrenaline of concerts when the music is blaring. I know people don't like the loud noises and the loud blaring bass, but I love it. I love the adrenaline of hearing the music, of seeing the guy strumming his guitar or her. It doesn't really matter. When you see them slide on stage, when you see them do the dance moves, it just fills me up with so much adrenaline and happiness, and I'm just dancing along, just thriving, and it's such an amazing experience. I love the lighting. I love all the sets and props that they use. It's such an amazing experience, and I recommend going to a concert. To start out, you should probably go to a concert that has low-key music that's not too loud to start out with, because you don't want to blow your eardrums. I get it. Like, it's too loud. I get it. So just, if you want to go to a concert, just start off low key. Probably country or something is my best bet. But concerts, amazing. I love concerts. So, okay. So another thing that Oh my God. My most favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants that I go to is the Ground Round. It's very popular here in New York. I mean, it used to be popular back in the day, but now they're starting to close down, which is really heartbreaking. But anyway, I love the Ground Round. When I was younger, I used to go there like probably every month and get a chocolate milk. Like, I loved getting chocolate milk. That was one of my favorite. Like, I don't remember the meals I got, but the only thing I remember is sitting down as a young child and getting a chocolate milk. That's probably the only thing I associate with the Ground Round, but it's one of my favorite places growing up, and I will always remember it. And I went there with my mom, I think, last year before the pandemic hit. And I loved reliving my childhood. It was so much fun. I felt like that little girl again, that happy-go-lucky girl, but who's grown up into such a young woman. And I really felt the reminiscing. I really felt it, and it was such an amazing feeling. So the next thing, and it's another restaurant, and it's probably the most recent restaurant I've gone to, probably started going there 3 years ago, is the restaurant Venus. And it's a Greek restaurant, and I love ordering gyros there. It is one of my favorite places to eat gyros, to eat Greek salads, and to just mix it with the white sauce that they put. I don't know what the white sauce is called, but they put this like white sauce onto the thing. Like, I don't remember what it's called, but I love it so much. The Greek salad with the feta cheese, the meat on the patty, the meat on the, what is it called? The taco shell. The meat on top of the bread. Whatever. On top of the gyro. It's really, really good. And I grew up with this restaurant. Like, we used to go there to celebrate like people's birthdays, and I don't know if I did it for my graduation, but I don't know. We just did it for so many things, and it just became a tradition, like for my teenage years, and even now, before the pandemic, we still went there, and it was amazing, and I really miss it. Okay, so here's another thing that, again, I can't really access because of the pandemic, but the movies. And I talked about this earlier. Like, one of my happiest memories was going to the movies. I loved going to the movies. And sometimes there's just moments where I don't feel like talking to people. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just a circumstantial thing. Sometimes I just don't have moments where I like to talk. And movies are perfect for that. Like, that's one of the many reasons why I love going to the movies, is because like, you can just watch something on a screen and still enjoy the other person's presence. Like, you don't have to talk. And if you do talk, you're going to miss parts of the movie. The point where you're supposed to talk is during the commercials and all the features beforehand, before you start eating your popcorn and watching the movie. That's the time you get to talk and what you expect from the movie. And then when you watch the movie, that's the time you just sit there and you don't have to talk and you just take everything in. And that's why I love the movies, is because you just can sit there with a friend and not have to talk, and you can just, like, I love talking to people, but sometimes I just need a break, and that's the perfect time. And also, I've watched a lot of great movies in my life. Like, one of my favorite movies is Despicable Me, and I know it's kind of for children. I mean, not really, because it was rated PG, I think. Yeah, it was rated PG, but I still loved that movie because it starred this villain called Gru, who was a villain. Like, he started out as a vicious villain. I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't watched it, but he's basically a villain in the start of the series, and he steals the moon. And then basically he adopts these kids to do his bidding for him, but he starts falling in love with them as in a fatherly way. He becomes a fatherly figure over the course of the series, and he turns good because of these little kids. They're so innocent, and they're making his heart swell, and he's becoming this kind person. And I just overall love when villains get reformed and they become good. It just reminds me that good people are out there. But yeah, I love the movies. That's exactly why I love the movies. Being with friends and just enjoying a plot of the movie. It's an amazing time. I recommend it. Oh my God, here's another one, and it's one of my favorite locations. And it's my friend. It's not really my friend. I call her my aunt. It's a friend of my mom's, and her name is Annie, and I call her Aunt Annie. I love going over her house so much because she has a son who's friends with my brother, and that's how I got introduced to her. And also, she works with my mom too. But I love her so much. Like, she is probably the closest to, I just love her so much. She's like my second mom, basically. She has this sweet nature. She has these cute eyes. She has this motherly nature. Like, she's not even my mom, and she basically acts like a very adoring mom. I mean, I haven't talked to her that much about anything, but I feel like I can open up to her about anything. And I think in the future, I'm going to share a lot more things with her because she just seems like one of those trusting people. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say. She'll accept you for who you are. Doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're tall, you're thin. She will accept you with open arms and will just bake you food. Like, she's so nice. I love her food. She's making me tiramisu, and the tiramisu is so freaking good. Like, she's just such an amazing, sweet asset in my life. Like, I love her so much next to my mom, who, again, I love her too, but this is all about Aunt Annie. I love her so much, and if you're listening to this, Aunt Annie, I wish you the best. I love you so much, and I hope I get to come over your house again. But anyway, back to the podcast. I love Auntie Annie so much, and if you have an Auntie Annie in your life, you're very lucky. We are lucky to have Aunt Annies in our lives. All right, so the next one, the next location I like to go to, or I loved going to, is the school that I'm attending. It feels like such a second home, like far away. And yes, I know it's like an academic place where you learn things, but it has all these amazing teachers in it. I've made bonds with all my teachers that are unlike any bond I've had with any other teacher. This one school just has these exuberant and special teachers. I don't even understand where they get these people from, but they are just so amazing. Like, I love it so much. Honestly, they motivated me unknowingly to continue my studies and to continue learning new things. Honestly, I owe it all to my teachers. They're one of the best things that I've ever had. So here is one more thing. One of the other locations, probably the last location I have on my list, is my old job. And again, it's like the same thing. Like, yes, I'm there to learn, and I'm there to, again, learn about my job and stuff. But I loved the people there. I couldn't help myself. They were just such kind people. They were there to help me with my work. They didn't ridicule me. They didn't judge me. They were just there for me, and they didn't. And yeah, I know you're not supposed to have a friendship with your coworkers, and I wasn't friends with anybody, but I was very friendly with them because I just couldn't help it. They were just such kind people and such a kind community. And I love my old job so much. It was an amazing place where I was still growing, I was still developing, and these people just treated me with open arms, kind of like the people in my family. And honestly, I cannot even talk about it without getting teared up. It's so meaningful. I love it so much. Oh my God, I just remembered I had this amazing coworker. I almost had like a daughter and father relationship with him. He really encouraged me to do radio, and he doesn't even know this, but he was one of the first job opportunities I've ever had, and I just loved working with him. Again, he never judged me. He never ridiculed me. He just let me in with open arms, regardless of how much experience I had. He just let me in, and I'm very grateful for it. I wouldn't be where I am now without him, without his advice, without his wisdom, without his insightful personality and his kindness. I wouldn't be where I am today, and I'd just like to thank him again if he's listening to this. I'm very grateful for what you've done, for the opportunities you've given me. I mean, and just basically accepting me, because my whole life, that's, something I feared, is not being accepted. And you really did that. So thank you. There's another person who I worked with who actually really inspired me too. And I worked with him the other person I worked with was an audio engineer, and that was my first task that I had to do. But there was a second task I had to do, and it involved another person who, again, I really admire. And if he's listening to this, thank you for being such an amazing boss, person to work with. Thank you for all your wisdom. Thank you for your effort and helping me get to where I am. I really appreciate it. I'm just so grateful. There's so many people I'm grateful for, honestly. I should probably make a list of inspirational people in my life, and I'm probably going to put it in my next podcast. Honestly, there's so many people that I'm grateful for, so I'm going to do that. So that was it. That was segment 4. So we're about to wrap up. And again, as always, I had a lot of fun talking with you all today. I hope I was able to make your day a really big and special one. And always remember that you are worth something. All of you have a purpose in life. Just remember that. So thank you for listening to the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review. That really helps us. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.